That's why, darling, it's incredible. Should have pushed the right button, and it would be incredible. Welcome in YouTube. It's good to see you too. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday. Welcome to Trip Talk. My name is Anthony Triplett, your host. We got the lovely, beautiful Becca. She is the producer, keeping this thing running, copacetic and in the ear, keeping the chat flowing as well. So be sure you guys say hello on the chat and all that good stuff so we can keep this thing going. But before we get started with the show and the chaos, if you guys could, please go ahead and hit that like button. Press the subscribe. It helps grow this channel. If you guys help us, that's how we can get the message out and get like-minded individuals in the right state of mind with the right information. So do it. Just touch it. Just touch it. All you got to do is push the button, push the subscribe. That way you guys get notified when we do the live. All right? So do it. Just do it. Do it. Oh, okay. With that being said, what a doozy of a Tuesday. What a day, what a day, what a day. How are you guys doing out there with all the Fed baloney, Fed slop, Fed sloppery, the Fed slop sandwiches? That's really what it is. It's like a soup sandwich. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what we call it in the military when it's just all jacked up. It's a soup sandwich. Here I go playing with the stuff. It's always something, you know what I mean? It just can't never not be nothing. It can't never not be nothing, ladies and gentlemen. Well, happy Tuesday. I hope you guys are doing okay, but I wanted to come on here live, of course, and talk with you guys because this is how the best way I believe we can actually engage in conversations with a better bit of a tone than just reading people's comment sections and stuff like that and having opinions. So we can have a conversation if you guys are encouraged to, of course, continue with the conversation. But I wanted to talk about some of the things in the current state of affairs that we are currently in. Because as a combat veteran, bruh, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not okay with what's going on out here. And I don't think a lot of you guys are either if you actually knew what was going on. All right. And I don't say that to try to confuse you and get too political on whether it's left or right or this or that, Trump this, and all that. I'm trying to just show you guys the truth of what is actually happening. So if you guys have watched some of the past videos, you probably have seen where I brought up the documents and specifically what is going on in our country, what is being proposed, what's being pushed, who is behind the push, and why that's important for you guys. That's the whole point of us doing these things, these lives, these shows, is to show you guys in real time what it is we're seeing. All right. And not everything we're seeing is nice. Not everything we're seeing is pretty. A lot of the stuff that we're going to be diving into is stuff that, of course, is what you would call not PC, or it's not safe for work, or whatever the NSFW term is. It's not stuff that we would normally want to talk about, but it is things that we should be talking about and asking questions. One of the greatest things Charlie Kirk told us was never stop asking questions. And that's something that I want to continue to do. Something I think that we as men especially need to continue to do. Ask questions and point out what is wrong. Point out who is proposing said thing and why it's wrong. Why it's wrong for the country. That way we can show people what we know. If all we're going to do is argue and call names back and forth, we're never going to learn anything. And at the end of the day, they want that division. Because here's what I've learned. And this is the God honest truth. A lot of people are going to get mad because they're going to be like, no. All Democrats are just evil, or all Republicans are evil. And I've been there. Trust me, I've been there. So I understand where your mind is and where you're coming from when you're sucked into being stuck on a team. I get it. I've been there. I've been there. It is so hard to pull yourself out of that because, especially if you live in a state like I live in Washington State, right? So when we have a super majority in our state legislation, it's really easy to say that all of the Democrats are bad. It's really easy to say that. Okay. And then if you look at the federal side of the house, it's really easy to say, well, no, all the Republicans are bad because they're the ones that are in control right now. And look at the state of affairs that we're in. I get it. That's all smoke and mirrors, because at the end of the day, the people are working together behind the scenes, whether it's left, right, independent, Republican, Democrat, special interest, APAC, all doing these things behind the scenes to work with what actually has the power, which is Congress. Congress makes up the power. Ultimately, that's where the real power comes from. It comes down to Congress. We have senators, we have representatives, and those two different entities have the power. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is people like Senator Tom Cotton. Okay? Now, the reason I bring this stuff up is because these are the people who hold power, and just how little oversight actually there is when it comes to proposing bills and policies and things like that. So, let me break it down for you. When a senator or a representative, because if you guys know anything about the United States history, if a bill is going to be proposed, it has to start in the House before it makes its way to the Senate and so on and so forth. I'm not going to sit here and beat you guys down on educating you how the process and the system works, but if a bill starts and wants to actually get pushed, it has to start in the House of Representatives. That's how our federal government is designed. It's been written, just so you're aware. So, anyways, when it comes to stuff like that, he's going to have to get people that are on the House to help push this thing. But Senator Tom Cotton has officially proposed that a new law. Okay, this is a new law. Okay, he's proposing a new law that can merge Mossad and the CIA forever. Now, what do I mean by that? He's trying to push this section of the Intelligence Authorization Bill. Okay, this is another bill, a secondary bill for the intelligence community. Okay, so the Intelligence Authorization Bill, this is literally all their rules for the year, how much money they're allowed to spend, how much money they're going to get. This is actually what this is, okay? So 622, Section 622 of the Intelligence Authorization Bill. And what that section is making it illegal to suspend intelligence sharing with the country of Israel. If you do not believe me, I challenge you guys to look this up yourself. Okay, this is true. These are real things that are happening. Okay, Senator Tom Cotton, you can see it right here. Senator Tom Cotton, he's proposing a section of the Intelligence Authorization Bill. And that section 622 would make it illegal to suspend intelligence sharing with the country of Israel. This came out on June the 13th, 2026, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I have to ask you, in what scenario would it make sense for an American senator to propose a law that would make it illegal to not share information with a foreign country? Make that make sense, ladies and gentlemen. The things that are happening, so that is one bill, the the Intelligence Authorization Bill, Section 622. I encourage you guys out there to look that up, because you guys can go to congress.gov and look up the bills and see exactly what it is. But I really want to talk to you guys about what makes you think it's okay for an American senator to be proposing a law that would make it illegal for us to stop sharing with a foreign country. Any other country we can stop. We can suspend sharing intelligence with any other country. But that section is specific for our greatest ally. It's real interesting, but they want to say that they don't have a hold on our government. They're not in control of our government when they're proposing bills like this, making it illegal for U.S. intelligence agencies to not share their information and data with Israel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying this to pick on anybody. I'm saying this because it should be waking you guys up, and you should be mad. Because I didn't just come back, or I didn't come back to the United States of America after going to the sandbox for these suit and ties to come back and say, hey, you're not even allowed to criticize them anymore in your own country. That is what's happening. They're pushing their way through in every way they can. I pulled up the federal 2027 National Defense Authorization Act for you, ladies and gentlemen. I pulled it up for you, and I showed you specifically where they were trying to implement themselves with the merging of the United States military and Israel's military. And you guys want to call us insane. You said it's not going to happen. That's not what that means. And then I pull up the bill and show you guys exactly what it means. And instead of denying it, you just look the other way. We got grown men on here still defending the UFC and Trump and all that bullcrap, defending sports, defending all this, but won't take a peek. Won't even take a peek at the section. It's not even a long section. I gave you the exact specific section. It's not even long. It'll take you 30 seconds to read through. But you'll spend 25 hours arguing about the World Cup and whether Michelle Obama's a man. That stuff is bananas to me. It is bananas, but y'all got the audacity to act like keyboard warriors and heroes because you guys think you know something because Fox News said so or your team said so. Come on, somebody. Where are the real people at? Where are the real Americans, the real patriots? The veterans, the men. Because we can look back and see that ain't nothing working. None of this is working. We can look back and see document after document. We can go line by line and see that it's not working in the interest for the United States of America. It's not working in the interest for us. It's working for them. Palantir getting richer. We got $300 billion being proposed to go fix Iran and the Strait of Hormuz. The strait that was already open before we started meddling with this bullshit to begin with. It was already open before we started meddling. But now we got to pay more of our tax dollars to go to fix this bullshit that shouldn't have been started to begin with. And what did the United States get in return? Don't worry, I'll wait. What has the United States gotten in return? Are we going to continue with the status quo? Or are we going to step up and actually show and hold people accountable? Now, that does not mean go out there being chaotic and start popping people for no reason, but that means show up with the documents and actually go through and be like, hey, Senator, on such and such, you signed off on this, and this is wrong. We don't like it. Fix it, or we will put you in jail. It's called treason for a reason when you're putting another country's interests. You're now telling people, Tom Cotton, where you at, Tom Cotton? You're telling people that the U.S. intelligence agency can no longer suspend sharing information, no, not even information, intelligence with Israel. I don't get it. What do we get in return, Tom Cotton? What do we get in return? And I don't mean you and your little trust fund or your little nonprofit group that you're getting donations from. What do we, the people, get in return? Because as we put you in these positions, you're not making decisions for the best interest of the United States, period. And if anybody wants to pull out their little ledger and show me how they are doing things in the best interest of the United States, or even the best interest of the people, I'll gladly sit back and listen. I'll shut what I call the fuck up and listen. Because at the end of the day, we know the truth. We can all see it. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors. We got one suit saying one thing, another suit saying another thing. They're going to continue to push the left, the right, the back, the forth. Meanwhile, we have individuals like Tom Cotton proposing a law making it illegal to suspend intelligence sharing with Israel. And y'all didn't know that the news ain't talking about it? You're not hearing any of your senators talk about it, your representatives. I look at my own state's representatives who don't even like Trump, and they don't talk about this stuff. This is why I know it's not a left versus right issue. That's the trick. You want to know how I know? Because I live in Washington State where all the representatives, all the senators and all them, they all hate this administration. They all hate Trump. That's all they ever talk about, how much they hate Trump, how much they hate this administration, how bad this administration is doing. But they're not telling us what's going on with this stuff. They're not telling us what's going on with this bill because they still want that to go through because their pockets are lined too. Their pockets are lined too. So don't let that left versus right, red, blue, bull crap fool you. That's the trick. That's the whole smoke and mirror. They want to fool you and put you into a category. They want to make you self-segregate. You see, it's a psychological thing. They want to make you self-segregate so you won't look into what I just showed you a second ago. They want you to argue with your neighbor. They want you to argue with your neighbor instead of looking at Section 622. Because I can pull it up. I can pull up the National Defense Authorization Act. I can show you. But they don't want us to show each other these things. They want us to argue whether Michelle Obama's a man or not. That's what they want. They want us to spend all of our time arguing about stupid things that don't matter. Stupid things that don't matter. Meanwhile, they got proposals like that making it illegal to share intelligence information with Israel. Or, excuse me, to suspend sharing intelligence information with Israel. But it's okay, though. It's okay. They keep saying you keep knocking on the devil's door. One day he gonna answer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at what's going on in our very own Congress, it is no joke. These things are real things. You can see it bill by bill, testimony after testimony. These are real things. I'm not saying this to sound like I'm picking on a specific country, but I do not like when that specific country moves in a way to stop it. Stop us from being able to exercise our God-given rights, for one. Funding data centers over here, infiltrating the Christian church with their geofencing and tactics. That's all coming from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Israel. You want to know how I know? Because I pulled up the documents and I showed you. That's how I know. We pulled it up. We have one specific country bragging about how they've removed and unseated Thomas Massey, bragging about it, and installed somebody else who nobody even knows or wants. But the Justice Department is going to ensure that they do their due diligence to ensure that they track and spy on Americans who want to say Israel's bad. That's the truth. That's the truth. I'm not making this stuff up. This is coming from the Department of Justice. This is their advisory committee on anti-Semitism. I shared you guys this last month. The Washington Department of Justice announced that they're going to have continued efforts to combat anti-Semitism nationwide through forthcoming launch of the Anti-Semitism Advisory Committee, ASAC. That's real, ladies and gentlemen, right there, ASAC. Now, I know that you guys are sitting here thinking, what do you mean? I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't care about the Jews. I'm not a racist, right? Because most of us aren't. Most of us are not sitting here every day like, fuck the Jews. I don't care about the Jews. None of us are sitting there thinking like that. But when they make it and they want to categorize you as anti-Semitic for even looking at what they're doing within our own country, we have a problem. And I'm not going to sit back and just like tuck my tail because I'm afraid of what the big I going to say. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because I looked into this specifically. I looked into this policy and what they're going to be doing. And the thing is they don't have no grounds to do anything. Because even if they don't like it in the United States, I have the right to say I don't like that specific country, that specific person, that specific thing, that ism. I'm allowed to say it. That is documented. That's in our Constitution. It's a God-given right. You can't take that from Americans and enforce that as another country. You cannot do that and expect us to just go along willy-nilly. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So you can get off your little high horse, big eye, get off your little high horse and realize who it is that you're messing with. Okay, because what you don't realize is, and maybe you do, you probably do, but we're not the ones. We really not the ones. Okay, you can try to make an example out of the ones and twos that aren't willing to step up. But let me tell you something. After a while, somebody gonna open that door. You keep on knocking all you want to, but somebody gonna open that motherfucking door. And you ain't gonna like who answers. That's the beautiful part about America. You ain't gonna like who answers. So either you get right or get out. It's real simple. But you can't be coming over here and expecting Americans to just be jumping on board whatever you're doing, and then you're gonna tell them to shut up. That's not how this works, homie. That's not how this works. You can try that stuff in China, you can try that elsewhere, but it don't work here. Those that want to get in line, those are the ones that are already saying, govern me harder, daddy. Those are the ones that are already saying, govern me harder, daddy. They don't have a problem with what you're doing. Okay? But 99% of Americans ain't on board with this bullshit. We got immigrants coming here that are like, nah, fuck that. We got illegal aliens from Mexico saying, nah, fuck that. That's the reality. That's the reality. So don't sit there and try to act like you know what you're doing, because one day that door gonna swing wide open. One day it's gonna swing wide open. Okay? But again, this is not just coming from me, because I follow what the IDF does. I follow what AIPAC does. I follow what BB does, what the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs is doing and bragging about. I follow these things specifically because I don't want you guys to think that what I'm saying is coming from a place of hate, coming from a place of anti-Semitic rhetoric. It's not. It's coming from a place of research and knowing who the fuck we are as Americans and as a Christian, that I'm not going to sit back and just like lies, cheating, stealing, all of that, genocide. I'm not going to sit back and just turn a blind eye because of my team is up at bat. No. When my team is messing up, if my team is cheating, I'm not going to go along with it. Period. Period. And you shouldn't either. You know better. Do better. Do better. Wake up your brothers. Wake up your sisters. Tell your friends. Stop arguing with them and educate them. Show them. Show them the truth. Show them the reality of where we are. It's not where we want to be, but it is where we are. It's not where we want to be, but it is where we are. We got a choice. America, we have a choice. We can either sit back, turn a blind eye, tuck our tails, and let it get worse, because there's no proof, there's nothing showing that it's going to get better. So we can either go down the status quo, or we can actually do our part as Americans and do better. The choice is yours. I'll see you guys soon. Take care, America.